Hello viewers, welcome to another news hour on Jamano Media and Products. We first begin with our headlines. Judge tells Sabali supporters to behave or he stays out. Serekunda West candidates lament unequal ground in political field. Banjaketa's drug trafficking and money laundering court set for today. Government urges civil servants to ignore memo trending on social media. Those were the headlines. We now have the news in detail. The judge presiding over the appeal case of the United Democratic Party Busumbala aspirant Mamadou Sabali has told dozens of his supporters to behave themselves in court, else he will not hear the arguments of the appeal. Justice Achimbonga gave his admonition to noisy placard-wielding supporters of Sabali, who is seeking an order to set aside the decision of the Independent Electoral Commission to disqualify him from contesting the April 9th National Assembly elections. The supporters marched into the courtroom escorting Sabali and chanting "Justice for Sabali" with their party's yellow flag in display. Behave yourselves or he will not come to court. If you don't behave yourselves, you can do the case by yourself, the judge warned the crowd before leaving the courtroom. At this juncture, Sabali's lawyer Abdullahi Fati, who looked somewhat unhappy with the supporters' actions, stood up and told them to be quiet. Bring that flag down. This is a courtroom, lawyer Fati ordered the supporters. Sabali, who was dressed in light blue kaftan, told his supporters to respect the judge immediately. Justice Achimboga left the courtroom. He is the boss of this court and you have to respect that. If you cannot maintain silence, please leave the courtroom, Sabali advised his supporters. Minutes later, armed paramilitary officers were deployed and 2 officers came into the courtroom and asked some supporters to leave to give way to the judge, who was waiting in chambers for things to settle down. The judge eventually came to the court after an hour's delay to hear the arguments of Sabali's lawyer against the Independent Electoral Commission and the Attorney General. Urging to support his motion in court, lawyer Fati said the Independent Electoral Commission's decision to reject Sabali's nomination papers is unjust, saying there is nothing on the documents before the court that warrants the action. The lawyers for the Independent Electoral Commission and the Attorney General's Chamber for both disagree with Fati in their submissions, urging that the decision of the Independent Electoral Commission was not wrong, urging the court to dismiss Sabali's application. Meanwhile, the judge has set the matter for ruling on Friday. 2 aspiring candidates for the Serekunda West constituency seat, Nene Freda Gomez of Citizens Alliance and Fatou Soujete of PDOIS, have lamented the unequal ground in the political field by decrying the president's campaign tour for the National People's Party candidates in his nationwide Meet the People's tour, while they sacrificed their campaign time to debate issues among themselves. The said complaint came after the candidates were asked by the moderator Fatoumata Cissé on what they could do to maintain political stability in the country if elected into office. In response, both female candidates said the political ground must be equally level for all to maintain political stability in the country. Ms. Gomez alleged that the political ground is not level. The right reforms such as the Electoral Reform Act should be enacted to ensure the incumbent separates his or her role as president of the country and leader of the political party. Her reasons for this is that President Barrow is on a tour campaigning for the National Assembly aspirants of his own political party while they were debating, and that this gives the National People's Party candidates an advantage over them. For the information of the reader, the aforementioned debate was organized by the Commission on Political Debate, CPD, to promote peace, accountability, policy-based voting and stability during the campaign period, funded by the National Democratic Institute, NDI. CDP invited all 6 Serekunda West constituency candidates to the debate, which took place on Saturday, 24th March 2022 at the Daus Hall in Kanifing. The candidates who honored the invitation were Madi MKCC for United Democratic Party, Fatou Soujete for PDOIS, and Nene Freda Gomez for Citizens Alliance. They debate on 5 thematic areas such as fundamental human rights and freedoms, political issues, national budget, foreign policy and diplomacy, and the oversight functions of the National Assembly. She will ensure that there is a coherent foreign policy for the country because she believes they lack that. They will ensure that they do not derogate the sovereignty of our country, and she is saying this because currently they saw the executive shooting themselves in the foot by blaming each other about the policy or an agreement they signed without bringing it to Parliament to be passed before being implemented. Again, they have seen the EU fishing agreement, which did not come to Parliament and was implemented, causing environmental and economic issues. So these are some of the things that she will not address, so that the foreign agreement services the interests of the Gambian people to the letter, Nene Freda Gomez asserted. On this part, Madi MKCC of United Democratic Party said that one thing he could love to see is the reduction of the count. The High Court in Banjul will today hear the case involving Banjaketa, who is facing 9 counts ranging from drug trafficking and money laundering. The point has been reliably informed. The source who is familiar with the matter confirmed the development, saying the case will be presided over Justice Mbubjane. Banjaketa has since been at large after the seizure of the biggest ever cocaine in the country by the narcotic agency in which he is believed to be involved. The 118 bags weighed a gross 2 tons, 952 kilograms and 850 grams. The cocaine was discovered in a search of a container ship from the port of Guayaquil in Ecuador through Algiers in Spain and then to the Gambia. The Gambia government wishes to inform all civil servants that a memo trending on social media on purported rescheduling of the new pay and grading scale to 1st January 2023 is grossly false and misleading, designed to cause anxiety and disgust among the population. Civil servants are particularly urged to ignore this repugnant memo intended to demoralize a hard-working and patriotic workforce that deserves nothing less than the best. The Gambia government remains irresolute in providing the welfare of all citizens, and ever since coming to office, that has been the priority of President Adama Barrow and his government. Accordingly, citizens are advised to desist from the misuse of letterheads, logos, and insignia of the State House, ministries, government departments, and state agencies. Those were the stories for our today's newscast, but before we take a leave of you, let's take a recap on our top stories. Judge tells Sabali supporters to behave or he stays out. Serekunda West candidates lament on equal ground in political field. Banjaketa's drug trafficking and money laundering course set for today. Government urges civil servants to ignore memo trending on social media. Those were the stories. Thank you for joining us. With your presenter, Maria Megillen. Do have a nice day.